There we go. Good afternoon. Good
Oh, hold
after.
on. It's still setting up.
Oh,
Okay, you can go now.
good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. It's your boy, Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr. coming to you this afternoon. We're moving up to July the 8th. If you don't have this on your calendar, you certainly want to put this on your calendar. It is the Holistic Oasis, a natural healing event that's being presented by the women of WOW. For those that are not familiar with WOW, it is the Women Offering Wealth organization. This event is going to be absolutely off the chain, but not off the chain because it's going to be people wilding out or whatever, but it's going to be off the chain because it's going to be just a day of mental, uh, physical, natural um, healing, um, natural exercise, all of those good things that we need mentally, physically, emotionally. So if you're looking for a day to be able to just not just relax, but to get a day of mental break from everything that's going on, you want to join us. Join us in. I love saying this, Nicole. Join us at Loveville, Loveville, Maryland. But it's actually the address is Somerville Park. It's Somerville Park, 24590 Pitway. So if you're looking to be able to put that into your G your directory into your GPS, it's Somerville Park, and that's 24590 Pitt Way, and it's Loveville, Maryland 20656. It's from 12 to 4 this coming Saturday. And as y'all have seen, what we have been doing, we've been having some of the vendors who are going to be a part of this day. We've been talking with them, been having them tell us a little bit about themselves, the products and services that they offer, and then what you can expect when you come out on Saturday, to be able to come away refreshed, renewed, rejuvenated, all of those great things. I promise you, you'll come away from this event better than you were going in if you do the things that you're supposed to be doing. Yeah, there's an if to that. If you do the things that you're supposed to be doing, but you got to meet us in Loveville on Saturday from 12 to 4. We'd love to have you there. It's going to be a great day of fun, but it's also going to be a great day of relaxation, purposefulness, and making people feel better from a mental state, physical state, emotional state, all of those things that have to do with us holistically. So come on out, join us. Weather is going to cooperate. I'm already claiming that, already saying that it's going to be a great, phenomenal day. Bring the whole family. Tell a friend, bring a friend, all of those great things. But today, we wanted to bring on one of our another vendor that's going to be joining us this coming Saturday. So I'm gonna allow him to introduce himself and tell us a little bit about who he is, and then we'll get into our conversation about the product services that he offers, and then what you all can expect from him on Saturday. So, brother, brother Tehron, are you there?
Yes, please. I just had you on mute. Yeah, I'm here. How you doing?
Hey, great brother, great brother. It's good. Thank you for joining us this afternoon and taking time out of your schedule to be able to come and talk with us. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And I want you to start off, if you can, just tell us a little bit about who you are, and then about the your business that you actually have.
Well, my name is Teron George L, and I run a business of Goddess Rose and Infinite Healing Tribe. is a corporation, the LLC group of a community of healers that do different things. We have different medicines that we deal with, different ways of presenting, this healing journey that we are on together. And so we just came together as a group to, to facilitate, and we're actually looking for community land right now to actually have a place was Somerville States, what they call it?
Yeah, Somerville Pit. It's in Pitway, Somerville Park. It's a Somerville
Somerville
Park.
Park. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. We're looking for some land like that so we can start holding our own
Oh, okay.
places
Now,
like this. And so, yeah,
how long have you been doing this?
strong 5 years. Strong
Okay.
5 years. Strong
Hmm.
5 years. I've first on my own healing journey been, of course, my whole life, but like in the last 10 years, it's been, attacking my own body, as I like to say. I was at one point I was like 395, and my diet was terrible and just everything. And I just watched a documentary that kind of changed my whole lifestyle. And from there, just went on just really a lot of fasting, a lot of juicing, a lot of herbs.
Then what got you interested? And can you either lean back just to say so we can get you fully
Oh,
in the
right,
in the
right.
camera? There you go. Yeah, or flip
Okay,
the camera. There you go. Right there. Yep.
okay, I got
Perfect.
you. I'll hold it for you.
Perfect.
Yeah, what you say? What was the question?
Well, what got you started in this? What made you interested in doing this type of work?
Well, I mean, just my mother had kind of put it in my face when I was a kid. She had bought information about Dr. Sadie in the '90s, man, and we looked at her like she was crazy. Like, what? I ain't about that. What? I'm drinking a gallon of milk a day. He's talking about no milk. What are you talking about? That's crazy. Like, so it was like, so I have to put, and she always had me what they call the conscious community. So I was always at seminars and help. And, I was always there, but I was, you got to go through your own journey and stuff. So
Yeah.
the information was there, but I just wasn't really necessarily ready for it. I think one of the first books I ever read that really sparked my interest, the Meta. And I remember the first time reading it and just it being like just gibberish. And then from there, I started studying more and learning. And I watched a documentary called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And after I watched that documentary, I stopped eating for a week. Like I was like, that's it. Like I can't do this. Like this is crazy. It's like it just hit me. And from there, I've been very stickler on what I put in my body and how I
Mm.
do my body. And so, so that's where I start. That's literally where I started from, which is juicing and
Mm.
fasting and juicing. That's where everything came.
No, and I like that, and then we have to be, we have to be very conscious of like you were just saying, and I really like that. I want you to pick up on it, on what we do put into our bodies. I think in our I think in our earlier years, in our 20s, 30s, teenage, we think we can eat anything, and we can we can still we'll be able to just wear it out or wear it off and everything like that. Now metabolism allows us to do that, but we don't realize that as we get older, the how we treated our body earlier impacts us as we do get older. So can you talk a little bit about that? How important it is not only for each generation to be able to realize and understand the importance of what we how we eat, what we eat, and all of those things to on our body and the wear and tear it can have on our body.
Well, like you said, and kudos to the Baba, Rising Power to Lala Africa. I say to the Baba. I used to talk to him personally. And Lala Africa will always tell you that this is a holistic game. So there's not one thing that hurts you, and it's not one thing that heals you. It's a cumulative of all of them. And when you're young, you 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 just don't know better because, like you said, your metabolism, for the most part, unless you have something diseased with your body, your metabolism just wards off half of the stuff that you eat off. That
Yeah,
we don't realize how powerful and magical beings we are, and how much we're because we are so powerful and so magical. The things that are poisonous that we ingest, we don't realize that it's literally poisonous because we just ward it off. But as you say, when you get into your 30s, your metabolism starts slowing down, those things will cumulatively hit you. And then as I started, studying and learning more about how the body is holistically connected to energetically to the world, to the universe, to the space you live in, the house you live in, to the land you stay on, to everything else, is that you start to also those are emotional things that are going on. There are traumas that are being held inside your DNA, that's being held inside your fat cells, your lymph nodes. So they're being held there. And some of that trauma might not even be yours. It could be your ancestors, your father, your mother. And so when you first start to physically, because okay, so like I used to tag along to Hootie or Thought, right? So he's I deal with the Kamisha science. So thought is all. So when you realize that what you're putting in you is bad, and now you keep doing it, it's almost you triggering to your spirit that you don't really care about your own well-being, right? And so it's up to the person, because so that's what they say, fools and babies, God gives mercy to fools and babies, because once you know better, you do better. So if you don't know better, then you don't get penalized as much. But there's still a penalty that's going on dealing with what you ingest in your body, and it presents itself with a lot of the problems that I know I share, and a lot of people in our community share, dealing with ADD and ADHD and all these different diagnoses that they give us. It has a lot to do with the food that we ingest first before you get to anything else. You know.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's just I like that, and I just don't think that we think on the level like you were just saying the importance of that, and I think that's why um, us as a country we are obese when it comes to that, because we aren't watching what we aren't watching what we're eating, but like you said, the connection that has with the rest of the things that we do, and especially when it comes to our family and our genealogy. We wonder why certain things, or we can't, certain things. We have to know our history. How important is that, knowing your family history? How's that tied to, connected to what the types of foods we may eat, and even in all the things that we may do with this holistic, and knowing who we are?
So okay, all right. So it's a yeah and a no. So it's like, all right. So it's like, so it depends on who you fall under in the studies too. Awesome, but it definitely it's not as genetic as we think physically.
Okay.
It's more spiritually. It's
Okay.
more so like, you know a lot of times, so a lot of Africans say, well, they say that, well, there's people, because they say, I know my family's from North Carolina, so they say, oh, sugar. They say sugar, that's diabetes. They'd be like, well, sugar, sugar running our family. You know what I'm saying? No, it don't. Bad eating running the family, right? And so it's so genetic, but that can be transferred genetically. And so it's not in your DNA that you that sugar runs in your family, but it's in your DNA that you eat crazy as I don't know what every day in your family. And so that gets passed through. And so the knowledge just gets passed. And then it's bigger about, even if you do eat crazy, there's still ways to, because I'm still a big girl, I'm still a big guy, I'm still 240, you know what I'm saying? And I eat once a day, I juice all day long, you know what I'm saying?
Really?
So
Oh,
there's
okay.
still so there's still things that you do to add to the way that you eat. So like a lot of people don't, like, if you do eat a lot of sugars, then you gotta eat a lot of bitters. You got to drink a lot of bitters. You got to digest a lot of bitters in your body, because that's what brings my up to the body. That's what brings
Mm.
balance to the body. Is by if you got sugar on one side, bitters is what counteracts sugar. Most people don't like bitters, or they don't even know what bitters are to ingest any type of bitters. So a lot of times they just feed on sugar, 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 meat, 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 and they don't do the other things. With a lot of times, if you are a meat eater, you eat a lot of meats, then you have to eat a lot of herbs. You have to eat a lot of spices because those herbs and those spices will breaks down the meat. It breaks down the parasites that are in the body, and that's where I feel like now more than back then, no one we don't talk about the parasites. We don't really talk about parasites and what certain type of herbs kill those parasites. So a lot of the mucus that we have, a lot of disease that we have, are these parasitic entities that are in the body that really make these pockets of disease. And then Western society names those diseases as cancer, wherever it's pocketed at it has this name, but it's always usually the same disease, just in a different place. So the more you're able to just pass on, even if you don't, because you don't want to beat anybody up for being where they at. Because like I said, I used to drink milk all the time. So how am I going to sit there and look at you like I'm better than you because if you still drink milk? But you want to let them know that, well, all right, if this is what you're going to do, then this is probably what you need to do too, because this will help you uh, to balance that out. And it's really about balance. It's really about
Right.
finding that balance and finding what if I do this, then I need to do this. And then fasting, taking a few days off and drinking more water. Most people are not ever really ever hungry. They're just thirsty. And the body doesn't differentiate between if you're hungry or thirsty. So as soon as you get to one or the other, you automatically, most of us go straight to food. And so the more that they drink and hydrate the body, they realize that they're probably not as hungry. So I always kind of refer to people I deal with, which is basically like start with a gallon a day. If you can drink a gallon a day and you still want to eat the same way you eat, whatever that is, then deserve kudos to you. Eat what you want to eat. But if you make sure that day that I drink a gallon, you're probably not going to eat as much. And even if you do, you're going to move it a certain type of way because we just don't get rid of it the same. We don't move the same. We get lazy to sit down. Drinking a gallon makes you get up and you got to pee a little bit more. And so it actually gets you up and gets you moving. And the more that you, and it's just a trick. It's just a hack. And that's was like a personal hack for myself. Is that me? I started with that gallon. I drunk that. Made sure I drank a gallon before I went to sleep. Before I woke up, I started with that gallon. By the time I finished it, you realize you got to go to the bathroom. You got to run. And sunlight, sunlight. We don't realize how powerful and how important to be out in the sun is.
Man, my my fitness trainer, she doing backflips right about now. Seeing you saying what you say about drinking more water, because that is
Oh
one of the
yeah.
things. Yeah, because I that is one of my goals this year is to drink more water because I know I'm not drinking enough. I drink. I ain't nowhere near a gallon. I promise you. But I'm
Oh
getting.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I do like 60 anywhere between 60 to 70 ounces a day.
That's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
They
it's like
really
right on the
say
edge. Yeah,
they really say for really it's half your body weight. So
right. Okay, okay,
whatever your body weight
okay.
is what you most people are usually about around half a gallon is usually about half of most people's body
Mhm.
weight. Some a little bit, if you're bigger, then you probably gotta drink more. And it's the other part, and that's like a second part to it, and I try to get them to the water first, and if you can get them to the water and get them to the lines, you're already there. But then once you get to some of the algae that you can put in the water that are maximized, some of the minerals that you can put into the water that you can maximize it if you want to, like
Yeah, yeah,
uh, kelp, dose, bladder rat. But
but
just get into the water first.
yeah,
Get
because
into
I definitely agree with you, and I think you're so right. I think the more water we're drinking, the less we want to eat because it is filling. It will fill you up. More so than actually, than when you won't eat as much. Like you were saying, if somebody can drink a whole gallon of water and eat, eating 4 meals or have 2 meals or 3 meals a day, more power to you. Because I know I can't even do it with the amount of water that I'm drinking now. So I know I would be nowhere near that with doing that. So I appreciate that. That's definitely, I think, one place where we all can start is drinking more water. I want you, if you can you talk a little bit about Saturday and what you'll be doing for those that'll be coming out on Saturday, and when they come to your portion, or they come to your table and everything like that, what they'll be able to receive on Monday, and then we'll get into how people can connect with you even before Saturday, but even beyond Saturday too, because we want to make sure that people know that as well.
Okay, well, yeah, so for my girl, she usually does most of the vending, so
Okay.
I won't have as much stuff there because she's actually they're having a psychedelic conference in Detroit, a women's psychedelic conference, and she's going to be one of the guest speakers there. So
Oh wow. Mm-hmm.
so yes, so I deal with different type of healing medicines, and I also deal with one of the strongest antibiotics in the world, which is a tree frog that they do. So I just really will just be having like kind of just information just to kind of talk about that, and
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll maybe just have a couple herbs and some sea moss, and I have a massage table. I'll bring that out and just present that, but it was just more or less just giving people knowledge of some of the medicines that they don't a lot of people don't know of that maybe they've heard of, and because I do what they call ethogenic I do ethogenic counseling. I hold space for different medicines in that space, and so what I'll be presenting with y'all is I'll be doing qigong, which is they well, I don't know, I think if I'm right, I don't know, because I looked at the schedule, I don't know, maybe I'm under Tai Chi, which they're cousins, they're basically brothers and sisters. It's Tai Chi and qigong, which but I've studied qigong more than I've actually studied Tai Chi. I do have
Mm.
8 count, the eightfold path that I probably would present to the people, and then it would be the rest of it would be some of my qigong exercises, just a couple, just different ones for different situations, just everyday living, just some different counts, and then just if you wanted to actually to raise your aura, have one for that, and have one for just reaching up to your what they call your Godhead, or just sparking your pineal gland. It's called the 9 breath method, which is very intense. It's not very long, just short. It's something you can do any time of the week. You know what I'm saying? Just to raise your vibration and bring your energy a little bit higher.
No, okay, and that's great. Now, how can people connect with you even prior to this? So do you have a website that they can connect to kind of see some of the parking services?
Yeah, the website is actually it's in process. It's getting built. It's up, but it's not finished yet. The
Okay,
website. So
okay,
right now, I use which is Facebook, which is my name, Saran George
okay,
L, and Instagram, which is Tahuti Ra L, which is Tahuti, and then it's underscore Ra underscore L. And
okay. Say, say that
anybody,
one more time. Say that one more
it's
time for me. So yeah.
Tahuti, Tehuti underscore Ra, and then underscore EL.
Okay, cool, cool. That way, people can actually they'll be able to visit the web. They'll be able to visit your Facebook page. Be able to visit your social media page prior to, and then even after. Is that where people can connect with you after
Yeah,
as
for
well? Because I
sure.
know you're gonna be giving out information there too. But
Yeah. I'm an open book. Yeah, so anytime anybody need to reach out, ask me questions. That's how I kind of keep it. My mother used to. She had her own law practice for like 20 years. I think and I hear your accent too. So you from Baltimore?
yes, I'm in Baltimore. Yeah.
Yeah. So my mother was had a law practice up Baltimore for 20 years,
Okay.
and she always was stressed that she never had to promote. It's always word of mouth, always word of mouth, and so that's kind of how I am with it. I don't do much promotion of anything. It's just word of mouth, and people, being able to pass on the information, and that's when you're doing the work. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause you're too busy to promote, but you're still always busy enough for, you know, so that's how I kind of keep it, you know.
That and then, yeah, absolutely. And word of mouth. I don't think people understand that's still the one of the strongest ways that you can market your business as you brand your business is by having people to being able to have someone and who can tell someone who tells someone or someone that knows
Oh,
someone.
facts. Yeah, definitely.
Because
Definitely when you're dealing with healing, you know what I'm saying? Especially when you're dealing with this type of game, you know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Especially and especially since it's starting to be the thing to do, it's starting to be in
yeah,
everybody's tarot,
yeah,
everybody reading tarot cards, everybody doing this. You know, it's like, so how do you separate yourself? Is that, you know, if you got to promote, then you probably already, you know what I'm saying? You know, I've been talking about CMOS for the last 7, 8 years, and then when it kind of blew up, you know, everybody started calling me because it's like, wait a minute, you've been talking about this, so I'm gonna go with you first. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it kind of just naturally kind of happened. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Where just being me, because I was always taught, you know, my teachers was always taught that, you know, you work on self first, then you go to your mate and your children, then you go to your family, then your community, and then the world. And so I stick to that goal. So I'm always working on myself first, and I'm putting
Mm,
this information into my kids, and then from there, my cousins and stuff they call, and like all this is synchronicity. Even I got interviewed by a friend of mine's mother, and then I see that she's actually one of the presenters at down here. She's teaching Reiki down at the event with y'all. You know, just synchronicity of it. You know. And so it's just like, man, just to watch how everything's come together. It's just like 4 or 5 years ago, like wow, you had to pull teeth to get somebody to talk about certain drinking these crazy herbs and doing this. But now they
mhm.
kind of everybody just is open to it. Times are shifting.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, man. I want you to, can you talk a little bit about, and I got one more, just one question, more question after this, but can you
Mhm.
talk about the importance of events like this holistic oasis, and how important this is? Because you mentioned in what you were just saying, how people are just now kind of realizing, recognizing, and catching on to this. How important are events like this for the, for the advancement, for the growth of people? um, Coming into their more mental state, better mental state, and holistically altogether.
So okay, so the beauty with the Kemet, right, with the fascination with Kemet, the fascination with Egypt, is that that's one of the pinnacles of higher consciousness, and it presents itself through its writings on the wall, through its statues that you see, through its monuments. It's all about the brain, about healing, about knowing thyself by healing thy heart, right? So now, when we're having these events and these festivals, these places where they're just about the higher consciousness, about raising your vibration, it's now when that becomes your cookout. You get what I'm saying? When that becomes your cookout, instead of your cookout being at another place, and no shade, but it's you know, the ratchet music and alcohol and cussing and arguing and fussing, and you know what I'm saying? When that becomes the blueprint that the children, because everything we do is about our children, about the
Mm,
next, we pass on to the next generation. So if it's okay for them to see that, because it's a balance. You're gonna have your cousin that's still a little ratchet. You're gonna have your people that's this and that, right? But for your family, for your 3, your 4, your 5, your 7 year old to go to a cookout and go to an event where there's food, there's vendors, there's music, there's sound
yeah.
bowls, there's meditation, there's these different things for them to visually to see for themselves is very, very powerful, because now it becomes it's just not something that's foreign to them. So it's something now they get to, now their spirit gets to choose which way to go, and our spirit's always going to choose the higher self, right?
Mm,
So now they got to have the presentation, the this to able to even see it. You know what I'm saying? So now you have that you know, that what they call, you know, in my art, they, you know, it's basically two sides. So now you got the choice. Now you can see whether it's this, and you can see that. But if you never really see that, then you never even know that's even a possibility. you know. And so it's just these things is the new cookout. It's the new way to go out. They're having a lot of these ceremonies and festivals and things, which you know is like the more the merrier. Because like I said, when you could have sound bowl healing is done every week somewhere, that somebody has a choice now that they can go and that be their new thing instead of whatever it was before. So I'm gonna go do some yoga this time. I'm gonna do some meditation. You know, so I feel like it's very important.
Yeah, and I so I mean, and I like the fact that what you said that the given a choice, the spirit will always choose its higher self. That's powerful right there, man. And when we put ourselves in environments like this, it gives not only the children, like you were saying, the ability to be able to choose and be around something that's different, that's mentally uplifting. It gives us as older folks to be able to do the same and be a part of the of this shifting from our society that is kind of negatively based to something that's more sound based, that's more um, uh, uh, calming and more positive. Like you said, you go to nothing wrong with a cookout, but
Right,
like but like you said, there's the music, the alcohol, those different dynamics to it aren't the positive aspects of it. But when you have an environment that's similar, but it has this relaxing form to it. The energy is different. The
right.
energy
That's
as
it.
opposed to it is different, and you come away from it, I think, feeling different, being different, and like you said, the impact that it can have on children, because it's something that they will be like, oh wow, this this is something that as they get older, that becomes their norm, you know
Right,
and
right.
what
Facts.
they say, hey, this is what I'm used to, this is what I'm used to being around, and I choose to be around this in every form. Like you said, that goes from the cookout that you may hang on to, even, I think, like you were saying, the holistic part of even the friends that they may choose to be around. Because
Right.
if I'm used to being in this calming and this more powerful energy, positively energetic environment, then I don't want to be around people who don't have that same kind of energy or possess that
Yeah,
same kind of energy to me.
it's like-minded energy finds itself. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Mm,
big on that. I'm big on the energy and frequencies and understanding and studying the code on how energy and frequency works. And so and that's where they had those, back in the day they had rites of passages, and they say that that's what we that's what they actually use. Well, I'll say they, as in like just saying, like a lot of people say that if you want to deal with community, the most biggest thing that you ever have to deal with when you're dealing with community is the rites of passage. And
mm,
that's just able to pass that when from coming from a child to, and for men to be able to have a boy become a man, and for a woman to be able to teach a girl how to become a woman, is that rites of passage, because those are years that are so skewed, because they're still humans, they're still sovereign beings in their own childhood. So they're going to go through the lessons of Haru, the journey of Haru, where they have to go their hero's journey to become what Asar was. To become your God self, you have to go through whatever your mess is. Everybody has their lower side, everybody has their dark side. But the quicker you can get them around people so they can see it for themselves, what it is to be a man or what it is to be a woman, the quicker they are to choose that. Because like I said, what my
mm,
studies have always presented is that you're all every one of us is going to be our higher self. It might not be this lifetime, it might be next lifetime. But the quicker you're able to perceive the presentation of what it is to be your code for you to reach your higher self, the quicker you're going to choose that. And so the quicker you can get them around people that will show that. So the show, I mean, I know in my community, I'm from Landover. So in my community, I grew up around a bunch of people with a bunch of deaths and a bunch of killing in the 80s and the early
mm,
90s.
mm-hmm,
And you're from
mm-hmm.
Baltimore, so I know you see the same thing.
Yeah, man.
And
This past
and it,
weekend, whew, I don't know if you heard
yeah,
about this
right.
weekend, man. It's just,
I can
yeah,
imagine.
yeah.
And so, and a lot of that really, and people don't realize most of that dealt is dealt because of fear. You know, and so like all that killing that's going on is because people are scared to death, and they scared to
Hmm.
move. They scared of their shadow, and if you can teach them at a young age that they don't have a lot to be fearful of and be scared of. They don't always got to prove something. They always got to run to a gun because they're scared. They don't have to do those certain things, but they have to have that courage enough to stand up and stand up to their own peer pressure of their friends. And the quicker their friends realize that that's the thing to do, they say we're a community, we're organisms of the common energy. So the quicker you can get the whole energy out of that place, you're the side eye. You're the one that just want to carry a gun and rob people and be crazy. And so it's just quick if everybody looking at you like, bro, that ain't we ain't doing that. You know, eventually you're gonna get better or you're gonna get lost, you know.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
that
yes, I will say so. I'm just really big on rites of passage because I got my rites of passage late. I was probably in my 30s when I finally, got the wake up call and had the elders sit on top of me like, bro, what are you doing? You know too much. You too smart. You still be living like this, doing this, that. And so I organically, I don't force it. I present myself in a place where I'm always able to give life lessons to younger
mhm,
men so they don't necessarily have to choose the same route because they might have saw the route before they even have to go down that road because we
yeah,
are we evolving. So the kid they smarter than us and they supposed to be. So why
right.
so if you give them both sides of the coin, they're going to choose the better coin, you know?
Yeah, yeah, and I've often said that too. That it's every generation's responsibility to make it better for the next generation, and we make it better by showing them and telling them, giving them experiences that they can have, but then also showing them how to navigate through, through the journey that they're on. And they should be wanting to seek that guidance as well too. They have to be willing to seek that guidance so that they do understand their walk. Not saying
Right,
that
that's right.
that our walk is their walk, but say, hey, here's some things that I went through that I can show you how you have to figure out how you get through what you have to go through. And
Right,
you have access to a lot more things, but I'm going to be there to kind of to show you what I did to get through what I went through. And that way
right,
you
right.
don't there's some things that you just gonna have. We had to. There were just some things we had to bump our head against the wall on. That's just
Mm-hmm.
life.
Fact.
That's just life. But
Yeah,
but here's
fact.
some things that will keep you and give you the ability to not have to bump your head against the wall against some things. Some things you won't have to
Mm-hmm.
experience because you say, hey, I saw you touch that fire. I know I don't have to touch the fire to know that something gonna happen
Right.
to me if I do that. So I think that's important, and I think this is gonna be a great things that the attendees will be able to gain by coming and speaking with you, talking with you, the knowledge that they'll gain just along from everybody else that's going to be a part of this, because I just think that this is something that is needed. I think that it's something that will move all of us as a community forward. I think both young men and young women. I don't think this is something that they readily see. So I think in order to be able to see something like this, they can say, "Wow, this is something that I think is worth being at, worth going and being a part of." Because I get to take from it and I get to learn from it and I come away from it being better, which is always my goal, making people better. So I appreciate you, brother. We appreciate you coming out one more time. If you can give your social media contact information, people want to subscribe and they want to follow you on social media.
Yeah, my Facebook is Tehron George L. It's Tehron George EL. And my Instagram is Tehuti, TEHUTI RA underscore EL. And I appreciate you too, bro.
Absolutely. So, brother, thank you for taking time out today again, coming and speaking with us. We appreciate it. Join us. He will be one of the vendors here at on July 8th from 12 to 4. The Holistic Oasis. It's a day. It's a natural healing event on July 8th. It's going to be again, I'm going to read y'all this address again. It is Somerville Park. It's Somerville Park, and it's 24590 Pitway. And, and Brother Terrell, I love saying this. It's in Loveville.
Yeah,
Loveville,
love it. Yep.
Loveville, Maryland, bro.
Hmm.
Loveville, Maryland. So it's a day full of love and all of those positive, energetic things, man. And I just think it's going to be a great day. I believe that everybody's going to come away being better, feeling better, because that's what the aim is and the goal is. So we appreciate you taking time out, brother, and we will see you on Saturday.
I'll say. All right. Appreciate you too, brother. Peace.
All right, have a great one. Peace.